All right, let's talk about Jeepers Creepers 2, which came out in 2003. This is the one that I saw more growing up on TV quite a bit, and there was a couple of scenes that kind of creeped me out, and it's been well over 10 years since I've seen these movies, and I always remembered preferring the second one over the original. Having rewatched it now, do I feel the same way? Let's find out. Stick around. So, this one starts a couple of days after the events of part one, and we got a bus full of students, cheerleaders, basketball players, all stranded on this road, and the creeper is picking them off one by one. And meanwhile, we got this guy played by Ray Weiss who is seeking revenge for the death of his son. So, getting to the positives is I like the opening scene. You know, I always like when a movie has the balls to kill kids, and in this one we see a kid being dragged through a cornfield and then taken off into the sky and flying towards the sun. So I thought that was a pretty cool open and kind of creepy, just seeing the creeper on the post pretending to be a scarecrow, and you see his head turn and stuff like that. Like, I thought it was kind of a creepy, cool opening for the movie, and it sets up the story for Ray Weiss's character, Jack. And I like this actor, Ray, and I like his revenge plot going on here. I always like a good revenge plot, and his story I thought was more interesting than the story on the bus. I wish we would have gotten more of this subplot. You know, the movie mainly focuses on the bus and what's going on there, and I'm more interested on what's going on over here. He like Ray's Jack. Jack's story is really just like the bookends. Like, you see him in the beginning, you know, he builds his little weapon, and he disappears for quite a long time. We focus on the kids on the bus, and then he comes back in the third act, and it picks up again. So I like everything with Ray Wise, and I thought the music in this one was improved over the first movie. Same composer, which kind of shocked me, and I thought the makeup on the creeper was just as good, if not a little bit better this time around. We got a lot more close-ups of the face. It's a little slimy. One thing I noticed is that I didn't notice in the first one is he has like a third nostril on the bridge of his nose. I don't think we saw that in the first one, but I could have just forgotten about it. But you know, the makeup was pretty good on the creeper, once again, if not a little bit better. And I thought this one had a better finale, a better third act. It was more action packed. It was a lot more like car stunts going on here, and I just thought it was more fun, the third act, when Ray regrouped, or not really regrouped, but got to the group for the first time and was helping them out. I thought everything from there was pretty fun. I liked that Justin Long actually reprised his role. Like, we get a cameo from Justin Long. We see his missing eyes, which was creepy. Like, it was creepy in the first one, and we get to see that same haunting image again in this one, in the cornfield, just his missing eyes. Like, it's pretty cool. And I thought that was awesome that he actually came back. You know, the actress playing the sister, she did not come back. She turned it down. I think she was supposed to be the one seeking revenge in this movie, and that's the way it should have played out. And I read that the creeper's eye color is the same as Derry's, which makes sense since he took his eyes, but I didn't really pay that close attention, but I read that, so I thought that was cool too, that they actually changed the color of his eyes to match Derry's. Getting into my dislikes, first up, a little nitpick is I wish they would have brought back the truck. Where's the truck? He's just running through a cornfield. He should be driving through that cornfield. Where's the iconic truck from part one? And where's the battle axe that he's using to chop off heads? That's all gone. And now he has like throwing star things he's throwing that are made out of body parts. I like that. But yeah, it's like, where's the truck? Where's the axe? Like, you should be hacking these fuckers up. But the biggest issue for this movie, for me, is its writing. Victor seemed to just not try as hard this time around. Just has horrible characters on this bus, terrible, ridiculous dialogue from everybody, especially Scotty. He's a fucking dick, and you just want him to die from the beginning. He's just so annoying. Like, he never turns off his asshole switch. He's just got it flipped on the entire movie. He never stops being a dick. He has no, like, redemption at all. I mean, at the end, he says sorry right before he dies. That doesn't count. That's not redemption. I'm sorry. Oh, now he's gone. I guess I should feel bad now because he said he was sorry. No, fuck that character. He deserved to get killed. And the visions, once again, like, it made sense in the first one, I guess, because that character was always a psychic. She always had visions. In this one, we have a cheerleader who was never a psychic, and now all of a sudden she's having these visions. Justin Long's character pops up and is telling her things, and the boy from the beginning is telling her things. And then when she relays the message to her fellow students, they all like believe every fucking word coming out of her mouth, even though that morning she was just a normal cheerleader. And now everyone's like, all right, let's listen to her. She seems to know what she's talking about. Like, everyone would be questioning her. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, they would just think she's crazy. But everyone seems to believe her. Like, Jack's character at the end seems to believe her too. Because when she's like, it's going to come back in 23 years. And he's like, all right, that's a fact. Not only does it just seem so forced, having this cheerleader all of a sudden become a psychic, but it just is so unnecessary, because all it does is let them all know the rules of the creeper. But do they really need to know the rules? What good does it do them knowing the whole 23 rule? Like, and you could have eliminated this problem by bringing back Trish, because she could have told everyone that shit, because she was told that from the real psychic in part 1. So she could have came back in this and told everyone, like, hey, this is what's up every 23 years. And then you wouldn't have this issue here with the forced psychic cheerleader shit, So Trish should have came back. She should have been getting revenge, not Jack. There's some wonky CGI in this, and a kill scene that's like unintentionally hilarious because it's so over the top, like unbelievable, so unrealistic. And the ending of this movie is really dumb. So final thoughts, this is a more action-filled sequel with a larger body count, bigger cast, and a somewhat improved score and makeup for the creeper, but it just lacks the eeriness of the original, and it should have brought back Trish. So when it comes to Jeepers Creepers 2, I'm giving it 3 out of 5. So I guess to answer my question earlier, do I like this one still more than the original? The answer is not really. I like it just about the same. So, spoilers. This movie takes place on day 22 of 23. And then, of course, it goes to day 23 after the opening here. And so I guess the first movie took place on day 19, because we hear something on the radio talking about, the events that happened in Poho County 4 days ago. And so, yeah, we get this pretend scarecrow opening, and the boy gets snatched into the air, and the tooth throwing star crashes the bus, and then they fix the tire, and then the creeper just does it again, but later. I'm not sure why he didn't just start attacking them after the first time he popped the tire. He decides to just let them go and then pop the other tire with the belly button throwing star that has like the guy's rose on it. And we hear about the fire in part 1, the church with all the bodies inside, so they discovered all the bodies. They find the creeper's dagger, and when the guy's just in his living room sitting on a couch, he just flies across the room, hits the wall, and that's never explained. It doesn't happen again in this movie, but I think they do that a lot more in part 3, but that's just another weird supernatural element they just threw in that I just don't really care for. Like, was it necessary for that to happen? Not really. To be honest, when I was watching the first Jeepers Creepers, I never sensed, like, yeah, this was definitely written by, like, a pervert pedophile. But when I was watching this, I was like, yeah, this was definitely written by someone like that. This is Victor Salva all over it. He was just really being homoerotic with this. Like, we got all these shirtless jocks that are singing about cocks, and then one of them's like a closeted homosexual. They're talking about how he goes to gay bars, and they call him Izzy or isn't he, and they're all like sunbathing shirtless on top of the bus next to each other, and then there's like 5 or 6 of them all pissing in the field shirtless right next to each other, dicks out in their hands. One of them, I think, like takes a peek at the other one's dick. All 3 of the grown-ups get taken away within minutes. We don't get much time with them. One of the coaches was an actor in part 1, I read. Don't know what character, but Yeah, so he's in both of these movies. I wonder if he's the same character. Maybe not. Um, and then we get to the best scene of the movie where the creeper is on the side of the bus, staring in and saying, without using words, like what parts of their body he wants. He smiles at one, he winks at another, points and shoot, and he's like telling some of them like, "Nah, I don't want you. Like, get over." And then he's like, "Yeah, you." Like, I thought that was actually kind of creepy. I was kind of impressed with the creeper's hat being able to stay on his head even though he was hanging upside down for like 2 minutes straight. It never fell off. And we get a convenient just spear on the bus. Why is there a bunch of spears? They're cheerleaders and basketball players, but they have like these javelins around that can like go through the roof of the bus and stab the creeper in the eye. And then when it pokes his eye out the other end, his eyeball is facing the other direction somehow. And instead of just pulling it out, he like rips off half his face, so now he needs a new one. And what if you chopped off his head? Would he just starve because he needs his mouth to eat these certain body parts that he needs? So if you remove his head, destroy the head completely, what's going to happen? Is he just going to starve to death? Or like he can't grow a new one, he needs the mouth to replace body parts. At some point in the movie, they establish that the front and back door of the bus are completely jammed, but every single window is shattered and they could just slide on out if they wanted to, but they never once consider it an option. Then we get this beheading, and it's so ridiculous. It would have been much scarier if his body just plopped down to the ground with blood spurting out, but instead his body falls back down into the bus. He's headless and he's like swinging around, punching at the air, like his body is still fighting the creeper. It's ridiculous, and you can just tell it's the actor like wearing something like green, a mask over his head. Like it doesn't look good, and it's so silly. It goes on way longer than it should have. So at some point they all get off the bus, and then they get scared and they want to get back on the bus, and for some reason the jackass inside is not letting them back in. But I thought it was funny that the one dude, Andy, jumps on the hood and he's like, "This is my bus too, man." Such stupid dialogue. There's a point in the movie where Minxie bumps into Ray and she won't talk at first for some reason, and then she says, "There's no one on the bus." But she knows that's not the truth. She was just there. She ran away from there and she saw there was a couple of people in there that wouldn't let them back on. So she knows there's some people on the bus, but why is she telling him that there isn't? Why is she being a fucking liar? And if she's psychic, she should know that the bus is not empty. So the dad turns the post puncher into like a harpoon gun and uses the creeper's dagger against him. And the creeper is so strong that it can lift this like 2-ton truck off the ground and even like move the bus a bit with it. And then his wings aren't so strong later on when he crashes through the windshield of the truck. It like rips his wing right off his body and one of his legs, weirdly enough. And this is another moment that's just unintentionally funny. The first thing is seeing the guy in the bed of the truck get like catapulted out of there and somehow survive with only a couple of scratches and like one broken leg. Like, no, he'd be dead. So I laughed at that. And another thing is the hopping creature. Like he's missing an arm and a leg, so he's just hopping closer and closer to the other guy. It's supposed to be this scary, intense chase. He's crawling away as the thing's hopping towards him, but I just thought that was so funny. I like that one dude actually got killed in that crash, though. The one who was driving. It was his stupid plan. It was a terrible plan. Like, what did he think was going to happen? Like, I got a plan. This thing's chasing us. I'm just gonna slam on my brakes. What's that gonna do? It's gonna catch up, and it's gonna smash into your truck, and this is what's gonna happen. You're gonna fucking crash, blow up, and die. Way to go. Great plan there, Izzy. So I'm glad he got killed for that stupid plan. And this is one of those movies where they show like the car stunt like 4 or 5 times. We just see a crash from like 5 different angles. So the dad stabs the shit out of the creeper like 50 times, which I like. And the chick is like, "Oh, it's not dead. It's going to come back every 23 years." And he believes her. Why not? And its face starts to like cocoon itself. Like the things are closing. His face it's being covered, and he's just going into his slumber for the next 23 years. And then we get this stupid fucking ending that is unbelievable. Like, he takes the body of the creeper, and instead of just, oh, I don't know, burning it, putting it in a tub of acid, burying it deep in the ocean, beneath the surface of the ocean, and then like putting it in a box and then burying it, put concrete over it. Like, instead of just doing something to make sure that this fucker can never come back again, he just takes the body and puts it on his wall like it's a fucking crucifix and sells like photo ops with it. Like, oh, here, take a photo with this creature that you probably think is fake for $5. And I'm just going to sit here and wait for the rest of my life for this thing to come back, harpoon in hand, ready to go. But it's like, you're going to be 23 years older. You're already old currently. At the beginning of the movie, he's like in his 50s. So 23 years later, he's pretty fucking old. He's not going to have the strength to fight this thing again. He could barely defeat it this time. He thinks he's going to be able to fight this thing again 23 years later when he's like almost 80 years old. It's ridiculous. Just fucking burn the thing to the point that it's nothing but like ashes, and then go throw those ashes into the ocean, like bury it somewhere. Get rid of the fucking thing. Don't just sell photos with it. It's so stupid. It's an unbelievable ending, and I could not believe my eyes when it was happening. So that's the end of Jeepers Creepers 2. What are your thoughts on this sequel? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you like what you've seen here, you can hit this like button and become a subscriber today just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And remember, it's all an opinion. You don't need to get butthurt about it.